From MTN News, this is Montana This Morning.
People in Billings protesting school mask requirements for the Magic City. Coming up, here what they're saying about a late decision by schools to switch from optional to mandatory mask wearing.
I'm Jonathan Amberian at the state capitol. Governor Gov Gianforte is again urging Montanans to get the COVID-19 vaccine, but he's vowing no vaccine or mask mandates. I'll have more from his news conference.
Well, happy Wednesday, Southwest Montana, 6:30 right there. Some clouds in the sky, some breezes on the wing as well out there.
Yeah, and it's not for everybody. Not everybody's dealing with the winds that we're dealing with here in tropical Four Corners for the morning. The temperature right now in Belgrade, 50 degrees, 41 in Butte, 36 this morning in West Yellowstone. You notice a little bit of green showing up there on the radar. It's not amounting to much, but that little system trying to work its way through the area may drop a couple of raindrops if you're driving eastward from Livingston back toward Billings. That wind just whipping the flag around this morning. It is breezy, and we're seeing 15-20 mile an hour winds throughout the morning. Our temperatures expected to be into the 70s. Isolated thunder showers for the afternoon. We're going to talk about the wind, where, and what to expect here in just a few minutes.
All right, thank you, Matt. 6:31. Our top story this half hour. In Billings yesterday, Yellowstone County Courthouse lawn packed with people demanding school superintendent make masks optional again. That protest comes after teachers and students were denied entry to school buildings for not wearing a mask over the first 2 days of school. MTN's Mitch Loggy was there and has our report.
On the Yellowstone County Courthouse lawn in Billings Tuesday night, a group of people gathered in protest of the Billings School District's mandatory mask policy.
We ask you to respect the freedom of choice of your staff and your community. We are parents of these children. We do not co-parent with the government. They are our children.
The protest had two main speakers, Luke Hudson and Jenna McKinney, both at the head of a Facebook group that was started last year in opposition to the limited number of fans allowed at school sporting events.
This is parents rising up to make sure their voices are heard because the school board was not listening. Our superintendent is not listening, but I guarantee you there's elected officials here that are listening.
Tuesday marks 2 days back in class for Billings teachers and students. Upham reversed course 2 days before the start of school, requiring masks after a 6-student outbreak on the Skyview High School football team. Elsie Arnson, State Superintendent of Public Instruction and former Billings teacher of 23 years, spoke at the protest. She said students being barred entry to school buildings is against Article 10 of the Montana Constitution, which outlines that the goal of public education is to grant equal opportunity.
In an educational opportunity, it is demanded by our Constitution. It is demanded. So when school doors shut because you are not wearing a face covering or a medical device or a mask, is that equality in education? No!
In a videotaped instance where a student was denied entry to a school on Monday, the school administrator did offer up a remote learning option for the student. To close protest remarks, Hudson issued an ultimatum to the superintendent. If masks aren't optional by the end of business Friday, a petition will be started up for Upham's removal as superintendent. In Billings, Mitch Laggy, MTN News.
Now, despite cries to end the mandate, Superintendent Greg Upham says he stands by his decision as 3 staff members in the Billings public school system have been placed on administrative leave for refusing to wear a mask. That suspension is for 5 days, and they could continue to face progressive discipline if they continue not to wear masks. It was an outbreak of 6 players on the Skyview football team that triggered the new mask mandate. Well, the latest COVID-19 numbers from Montana Department of Health and Human Services show 720 new cases reported within the last 24 hours. Total active cases, 3,899. Yellowstone County added the most new cases, followed by Flathead and then Missoula. Butte-Silver Bow registering 14 new cases. Gallatin County had 76. There were 8 new deaths reported statewide. 19 more people are in Montana hospitals for a total of 239 hospitalized in the state with the virus. Roughly 1 in 20 reported COVID cases in Montana has resulted in a hospitalization. This weekend, Montana crossed the 50% of eligible residents now considered fully vaccinated. If you want to get vaccinated, contact your county health department or the COVID number story on our website. There is a link you can click on as well. Right now, Montana approaching 1.6 million COVID tests administered. Well, Montana Governor Greg Gianforte is saying he will not reinstate a mask mandate or mandate vaccines, but does encourage Montanans to get the COVID-19 vaccine. DAN's Jonathan Amberian fills us in on what else the governor is saying about the growing number of COVID cases in Montana.
Governor Greg Gianforte said Tuesday that there's never been a better time for Montanans to get vaccinated against COVID-19, but he continued to stress his opposition to mandating the shot. At a news conference, Gianforte and public health leaders said evidence shows unvaccinated people are at much greater risk from the Delta variant of the coronavirus. The governor praised the FDA's full approval of the Pfizer vaccine, saying it's more evidence of the shot's effectiveness.
The vaccines have been researched. They've been rigorously tested, they are safe, and they work.
But Gianforte said people who are hesitant to get vaccinated aren't likely to be convinced by public figures. He urged them to talk with healthcare providers about getting the shot.
They don't want to hear from me, national figures, interest groups, or even the press. It's not effective. They want to consult with medical providers they trust, their doctor, and their pharmacist.
He said the state of Montana won't implement any mandate for COVID vaccination or return to a mask mandate. The state has reported an uptick in new vaccinations in recent weeks. Gianforte also sharply criticized the Biden administration for their handling of the withdrawal from Afghanistan, saying troops shouldn't have been pulled out before all Americans and their allies were safe from the Taliban.
But our withdrawal was a poorly prepared and rushed calamity, and it leaves many of them at risk.
He said the country has obligations to Afghan interpreters and others who helped U.S. forces, but that it's for local communities to decide how to relocate refugees. Gianforte said he's also pleased with Montana's improving labor force numbers in the months since the state implemented return-to-work bonuses, but he said inflation and COVID are continuing to hold the state's economic recovery back. In Helena, Jonathan Amberian, MTN News.
In other headlines this morning, President Biden has made several Afghanistan-related promises in recent days. U.S. troops will stay in the country until all Americans are out, with the president also vowing to continue humanitarian mission there. Part of that mission includes relocating Afghan refugees here to the United States. So what is that process? Where will the refugees go? And how many could be coming to our country? Our Joe St. George picks up the story.
I feel sad. I feel scared for all those left behind.
For Hawad Hamad, this past week has been painful.
I cannot eat well and I cannot sleep well.
He's a native son of Afghanistan, and he says watching it return to Taliban control has been gut-wrenching. Those images of Afghans running on the tarmac, heartbreaking.
The security forces were very well trained. They were well equipped. And I don't know why they didn't resist.
His pain pales in comparison, though, he says, to what his family back in Afghanistan is experiencing. His parents and siblings are located 5 hours from Kabul International Airport in a city called Host. A drive there would be impossible to make, he says right now. He isn't sharing with us their faces. He doesn't want them harmed.
Everyone is hiding now. No one was prepared for this kind of rapid collapse of the government.
His message for President Biden?
Do not leave our friends behind, good friends. They doesn't deserve that.
The White House is at least trying to help. The president's directed $500 million to the State Department in the last several days to improve the visa process for Afghan citizens. The president's using what's known as the Afghan Special Immigrant Visa Program to help a select group of Afghans resettle. To qualify, past work helping the U.S. is required, like being an interpreter. 20 to 22,000 Afghans are expected to be selected, and each recipient can bring their spouse and children. Hawad got his special visa through the program in 2014. The problem, he says, is the paperwork was tedious before this week. It's even more complicated now.
One of my friends, I personally know him. He worked same like me as a translator with the U.S. troops. He applied for the special immigration visa 5 years ago, and he is still waiting there. He's stuck there.
We've welcomed about 12 families over the past month.
Chris George runs IRIS, a refugee assistance group in Connecticut.
We are blessed with a lot of donations that come in.
He says first, the refugees will go to military installations. Fort Lee in Virginia has been processing Afghan refugees for weeks. Other locations like Fort McCoy in Wisconsin and Fort Bliss in Texas will be used too. George says once they are processed at a military base, refugee response groups like his are contacted, typically when a refugee has family or a friend living in their particular region.
And as an illustration of the variety of people who we're welcoming and who've worked with the U.S. government, one of them worked on a U.S. government-funded judicial reform project. The other one managed a laundry facility at a military base.
George typically sets up an apartment like this for them to live in. This one was put to use in the last few days. And if you're inclined to help, George says there's a group just like his in a city near you.
There are about 200 refugee resettlement nonprofits like ours spread across the United States.
He believes 100,000 Afghan refugees could come to the U.S. over the next several months. And if you encounter a family, his advice, don't be afraid to say hi.
What I generally do is I shake their hand. I say, welcome to the United States.
Hawad agrees. When he first came here, a smiling face made all the difference.
I'm so grateful of all the support that I received here.
In New Haven, Connecticut, I'm Joe St. George.
So far, 74,000 plus have been taken out of Afghanistan by the U.S. 6:40 now. How far would you go for 2 free donuts a day every day until the end of the year? It's part of a free giveaway to encourage you getting a COVID vaccine. Coming up, find out how those free sweets could lead to some long drives here in the Treasure State. But first, let's check in with Anthony Mason to see what's coming up at 7 o'clock.
Good morning. Ahead on CBS this morning, we're at a U.S. military base in Germany, a way station for thousands of Afghan evacuees. Hear their remarkable stories of courage and support as they face an uncertain future. Also, see the inspiring journey of an Iraq war veteran turned Paralympian competing for Team USA. She shows us the power of never giving up. And Grover from Sesame Street joins us to help kids manage the stress of going back to school after a year of at-home learning. All coming up when we see you at 7.